Hey, happy Saturday and welcome to Minding Your Business with the Lancaster Chamber of Commerce. I'm Chris Spiker.
I'm Aaron Goldstein. We are here with our first guest, Stephen Derryberry from Derryberry and Associates.
Hey, welcome, Stephen.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. First time on the show.
Absolutely. You know, I've been waiting patiently for you to ask me to come on the show, Chris.
And you were wondering what does it take to get on the show? What is the process? And I just thought, well, Stephen's he's an attorney. He's busy. And time is money.
I was really close to begging, Chris. Really close.
Well, I thought, I look around, I go, why has Stephen never been on the show? So I did a little search, and that video that we made at Board of Trade 5 years ago popped up, and that was a pretty cool little bit. You said your kids watched that.
They did. They Googled my name, and up right very top of Google is their YouTube video of us at the Hellenic Center from 5 years ago. Actually, it was 6 years ago, but close enough.
You're right, it was 2013.
It probably was.
Yeah. And, well, what a great thing when you put your name in, that's what shows up.
I wasn't very disappointed.
150 views in 6 years.
Maybe. A couple dozen. We'll take it.
You know, if one person looking for you or looking for an attorney or a good lawyer watches that video and goes in and becomes a client, I mean, what's that worth?
It's an infinite amount of money to me.
So my idea in telling lots of stories with these videos is to find some coattails to ride.
Absolutely. I think that's the importance behind doing this. Making sure that the people in the community know we're here to help the businesses.
Because we're going to call this a small business, right?
Absolutely, I am.
And it's a mom and pop, and it's the owners there, and there's real estate involved, there's a storefront, and it needs to be supported and understood.
Correct, and that's what we do, and we support the community in our business.
Positively. So we're telling these stories about chamber members, and you're a chamber member.
That's correct.
How'd you get involved with the Chamber of Commerce?
So 2006, I was new to town, not new to town, but back here in the Antelope Valley after spending many years away in college. I joined up with a pretty established attorney in town, Tom Kessler.
Right.
I was working at his office, and I thought, people know who he is, but nobody knows who I am. So I thought, what are the best ways in the community to get my name out there? So one of the first things I did was I joined the chamber, and I talked to the directors, and I said, hey, listen, I'm available. I'm a young lawyer. If you need somebody on the board, I'm available. And they came back and asked.
They were smart enough to grab the invitation.
They were. It was eye-opening for me. It was good. It was a wonderful thing. I got to meet an incredible number of business people here in the community.
In a real hurry, in a quick time.
Within minutes, almost.
It didn't take you 5 years, like, who is he?
Correct.
That's pretty cool. Where'd you go to school?
So you want me to start at Courtsville Elementary, or are you asking college? So
That's important stuff.
Well, as a local kid, I think it's important to acknowledge the education that's proffered here in this community. So, locally, Courtsville Elementary, Joe Walker, and Courtsville High School. But then I went to college at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and then I went to law school downtown Los Angeles at Southwestern.
Yeah. And then you stood for the bar.
I did.
Passed it on the first run.
That's correct.
So what is it about attorneys that pass the bar on the first try?
Well,
are they the best?
Well, I don't know that to be true. An attorney is an attorney. It is one heck of an exam, and I do know the night that I got my results, I sat at the computer, I logged in, and I waited for it to load. And I thought if I wasn't successful, I didn't know if I wanted to go through the grueling exam process again. So I don't know, Chris, to be honest with you, but I'm glad and thankful I passed the first time.
Yeah. What was it like working with Kessler?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
He was 40 years my senior, just a wealth of knowledge. He had been in town, as you know, for all that time, and gave me an opportunity to ask questions when I needed them. So when I didn't know the answer, as opposed to spending endless hours looking in books or internet searches with the resources we have, he was that book and that resource for me. He was an incredible mentor.
So he has retired and kind of moved on.
He has. He's enjoying life with his family in Utah.
I think Tom has always enjoyed life.
He has. He really has.
So now it's your turn to be a mentor to the next generation.
You know, and I've taken that tune from him. You know, if the college intern comes asking if they're qualified, you know, we've had a number of, you know, summer interns, law clerks, you know, anybody in the local community who wants to be here to work in this field. I really feel it's important that they get some base. And giving them that opportunity to work in a law office that does a number of different things, I think it's really important. I didn't have that opportunity. You know, we've had a summer intern this year who has been with us 3 summers. He's come back. The young man got accepted to over a dozen or so law school scholarships up and down the board, and he decided to go to Loyola Law School, and he starts in a week and a half. As soon as he got done with school, he came back. He was worked with me for the whole summer. This is his 3rd summer, and I really want to provide that opportunity as often as I can.
So there's someone with a lot of talent, and they could work in the Bay Area, they could work in Beverly Hills, they could go to New York City, they could go to the Antelope Valley. Now, for a young lawyer attorney, what is it about the Antelope Valley that would be unique, special?
You know, when you look at the number of attorneys that are here versus the number of residents, and you compare that to any of the metropolitan areas, there are so few lawyers to people here that there is an opportunity to affect change and to help people, I think on a broader scale. You know, I feel in the last 13 or so years that I've been doing this, I've had an opportunity to help really thousands of people. And that experience is tremendous. But I also feel like you can make a difference in the Antelope Valley. And it's not as hard to break in. You know, I told a story about how I walked into the Chamber of Commerce that was
Right.
down the street from my office and introduced myself.
You didn't have to schedule a meeting or let them know a month in advance you were coming by?
I didn't. Maybe I could have, and I'm sure that opportunity is available in, you know, in San Francisco or New York or Los Angeles. But there's so many more businesses, so many more attorneys to kind of compete with.
Yeah.
You don't have that same problem here, so to speak.
Smaller fishbowl.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's a lot easier, I think, to really affect change here.
Do you think the normal person in their life is going to go into an attorney's office every year, or is it kind of a...
You know, it really shouldn't be. You know, yes, if you're a business owner, it's important to have somebody you can call when there's a question. The last thing you want to do as a business owner is to make decisions on your own without seeking advice. You know, it's the reason why we go to physicians if we're sick. You can't solve those problems on your own. You need to really know and understand when you need a lawyer. But generally, most everyday people don't need a lawyer annually. You know, I would say everybody needs to consult an attorney once you know you're advancing in life and you have assets and you have property or homes and you have children. You've got to protect those people. That's at the bare minimum. Everybody needs an attorney to do that, at the bare minimum. And then obviously it depends as you grow and as you acquire more. Then yes, it does get more complicated.
Do you want to say hi to your daughter?
I'll say hi to all 3 of my daughters, Mackenzie, Stella, and Grace.
What about a person, you know, I mean, obviously I just picked up a lot of expertise there. What about a person that's just going to do it themselves? They're going to do an 800 number and they're going to call and they get all their problems solved and it'll all be airtight.
So I can tell you in the last decade or so, it's really become more prevalent that that's what people do. Google has become their attorney. The internet has become their attorney. And what happens in those circumstances, if they follow through on the information they get, whether it's a document or a free contract or some information on there, generally when the problems arise, they're problems that are tenfold what they could have been if they just would have sought the advice of an attorney to begin with. So it's penny wise and pound foolish. I mean, if you just put aside a little bit of time, maybe a little bit more money up front, it saves you a ton in the end. And I can go on, you know, for far more time than we have this morning to explain all of the different circumstances. I've seen that, where, you know, we've had clients that didn't want to expend the money up front, but then when the problem arose that we could have solved, they came back around on the back and it was 10 times more expensive to fix. So, you know, don't be shy. You know, I can say that we're not as expensive as people think we are.
Well, also, if you do it right the first time, you can get off pretty inexpensively doing it with your office the first time.
Correct.
The right way.
Correct. It's not, sure, is it more expensive than the internet stuff or the free stuff? Of course. But when you look at it, the grand scheme of things, it's efficient, it's effective, and we stand behind what it is that we do. And all attorneys do generally.
That's that face-to-face, it's very important.
I think so.
Yeah, we think so. And maybe that's the cool thing about the Antelope Valley. That's still the way business is done.
And that's what I appreciate the most. As a kid that grew up here, it is still that way. There's still that community base, and people really want to seek the professionals that are here, and they trust them.
So we have just a minute left. How do people find Stephen Derryberry?
You can come to our office here on Avenue N and 11th Street West. DerryberryLawyers.com is our website. We're available on social media, Facebook and Instagram, and our phone number is 661-945-6115.
And your front office is amazing.
I'm pretty proud of it, Chris. It was a fun process, but I'm pretty proud of it.
Well, I mean, the physical is nice, but the people that you've put in the front office are very good.
I have the best staff in the Antelope Valley, bar none.
Yeah, you probably do. So you're at Avenue N and 12th, right off the freeway.
Correct.
And is that Lancaster or Palmdale?
So the address is Palmdale.
Very good.
Right between the cities.
It's a great part of the world. Stick around. We'll talk a little bit more about community.
Perfect. Thank you.
Stephen Derryberry. Hey, we're back. Minding Your Business, Lancaster Chamber of Commerce. I'm Chris Spiker, your host. Aaron is out drinking an orange soda. He'll be right back. But we got Stephen Derryberry, Derryberry and Associates, our friendly, fair law firm here in the Antelope Valley. And we're going to take a few minutes and talk about the community.
The best community.
The best community. Well, it's best because we all give a darn.
Because it's AV nice, right, Chris?
It's AV nice, which is conversation, which is what we're doing here. We're just talking, and we're choosing to talk about fun things and nice things and loving each other.
That's right. That's what the Antelope Valley is all about.
When you got involved 13, 14 years ago, you came back from school, back to your hometown.
It's true.
You got involved with the chamber. We talked about that a little bit. And how did you get involved with LPAC, which is Lancaster Performing Arts
Center. So actually, the Lancaster Performing Arts Center is an arm of the city of Lancaster. But we have the LPAC Foundation, which is the Lancaster Performing Arts Center Foundation. What the foundation does is support the theater itself. So when it needs stuff, microphones, speakers, stuff that the city just doesn't have in its budget, but in order to keep the center attractive to artists, we raise funds for that. But really, most importantly, we raise funds to bring about 15,000 kids to the theater every year to experience the performing arts.
During the day, you got an empty theater.
Correct.
And you got a lot of kids.
We have tons of kids.
Within 5 miles of the facility.
Yeah, but not even 5 miles to Hatchapee, all the way out to Little Rock, the lakes.
Really?
I mean, we bring kids in from the entire Antelope Valley.
How many students are out there?
I don't know a specific, Chris.
100,000?
I know that annually 15,000 of them are affected by what we do. So that's what kind of what brought me there. As a musician, as a guy who's enjoyed the Performing Arts Center myself, as a kid in this community, I thought it was important to try to give back that way, and so that's why I've been so invested in that. So I joined, I applied and asked to be on the board, basically. A dear friend of mine, Josh Mann, who I'm sure has been on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Josh was on the board, and Josh was a roommate of mine at the time, and I said, hey, I'd love to be involved. That's one of the foundations I think I'd really like to get behind. Lou Bozigian was the president.
Wow.
Over 25 years he did that.
Was he the president 25 years?
He was, and there's no way he would step down until he moved. So,
so you've only got 20 more years to be.
19 actually, but pretty close.
I think you probably have the ability to let go and step back.
I think we'll see. I've got some goals. I'd like to raise some good money, get kind of that endowment going, so that this thing will perpetually run. So I've got some ideas and things that we need to implement over the next. I've got about 2.5, 3 years until the next cycle for a change in officers, but we'll see, Chris.
What would you say to a resident of the Antelope Valley who's never been to LPAC?
Well, our season just came out, the actual brochure, the shows that we're going to have. There is something in there for everyone. They're affordable. There is truly, as an artist, as a musician or a dancer, there is truly no better theater in Southern California. It's really intimate, 750 seats. You can almost always get
Isn't there a bad
wonderful
seat? Is there a bad seat?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
The balcony's pretty cool.
The balcony, the way the balcony sits, you're almost eye level, just above eye level of the stage. You have an opportunity to see everything. Sound quality is wonderful. And it's there. Parking's great. There's amenities near it. What the Boulevard has, the restaurants. It's just a great place. I mean, we don't have to drive to Los Angeles for good entertainment. You can get it at the LPAC.
Yeah. You can at least supplement your driving.
That's right.
Have you ever driven to Los Angeles when there's a problem on the freeway?
More times than I could count. As an attorney, I do go to court, and probably at least 1/3 of the time, you hop on the freeway, there's a heck of an accident on the freeway.
Yeah, so your hour and 15-minute drive becomes a 2.5-hour drive.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, that's right. And that's happening with more frequency.
It's true.
So it just becomes easier to kind of stay around the Antelope Valley.
And there's a lot to do, and the LPAC's one of them.
What else is there to do?
If you want to get outdoors, there's about anything within 15-20 minutes short of the beach. I mean, you can see everything. Chris, I know you like to get outside and put your hiking boots on, and I mean, you can do that. My kids have found nooks and crannies and places they really enjoy too. And we're able to do it here. We don't have to get in the car and drive down below every weekend. We can give back to the community, support the businesses here. There's great restaurants, there's great shops, there's great opportunities for the youth. They're all out there.
Do the kids like the Rock Inn? Have you been out to the Rock Inn in Lake Hughes?
So the two oldest have. I haven't. The baby hasn't been out there yet.
That's a pretty cool place.
It is.
And that's back from the 20s.
I know. I would like to book Steel Wool at the Rock Inn. So if you know anybody that like to book it,
it's out there now. It's out there now.
Did you know, Chris, Steel Wool is going to open up for Big and Rich at the fair on the main stage?
Wow.
Yeah, we just found out.
So I have a chance to talk to one of the guys, Big and Rich.
Do you?
Next Tuesday. I haven't set it up yet, but I don't even know. I mean, I know the song, but what do you say to a musician? Well, here I am talking to a musician. I guess that's what you do.
Well, it depends on what musician, but generally speaking, they could talk about pretty much anything.
Yeah. But they've heard every dumb question 1,000 times.
And they can give every dumb answer just as many times.
So I don't know. I mean, I've talked to a couple people at LPAC before performances.
Sure.
And it's stretched me as a wannabe journalist.
I can see that.
Yeah. But fun things to do in the Antelope Valley.
It's because the business owners here are invested in this community. I think that's why.
We were presenting Mr. Lackey was presenting a Business of the Month award to a gasoline station, gas and coffee, out in Quartz Hill today. And I gave him a Navy Nice wristband because, there's always this parade of people giving certificates. And I said, you're getting up every morning and you're deciding, I'm going to work today. And that's important to us,
Sure. You gave me one of those that sits on my desk, Chris, at my office.
Wow.
When Assemblyman Lackey gave our office that award a couple months ago.
And that's when we did a video.
We did do another video that day.
So that's out there. So this goes into the collection.
I love it. I'm glad to be here.
So what else does the Antelope Valley need?
What do we need, Chris? Maybe the ocean. For me, that's a selfish request. But short of that, like I said, I really feel like anything you're looking to do, you can accomplish here.
Yeah. We used to think that there was too much aerospace here, but I think every area has to have an industry.
Absolutely.
And every area doesn't want to lose that big, huge industry. And so the Antelope Valley is blessed to have aerospace in every direction, and we have an air show every day.
It's true. And I didn't realize that until I moved my office to where it is today.
You're right under.
We see the B-2 fly by on a weekly basis. And
you hear it first.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And it shakes the building a little bit, but it's just incredible what happens here. And you're right. I hear stories. My grandfather brought his family out here in the 50s. Kind of the old one-horse town conversations.
Right.
And it wasn't until the aerospace came that we saw the growth and the opportunity and the larger businesses and and an ability for the large population to come here. I mean, we have to be grateful for the aerospace.
And they're still hiring like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Hiring like crazy. What other groups are you involved in? Whether clubs, organizations? Do the attorneys have a club?
There is the AV Bar Association.
AV Bar
Yeah,
Association.
AV Bar Association. Of course, the Antelope Valley Board of Trade, and besides the Lancaster, of course, the Palmdale Chamber of Commerce as well, the Quartzville Chamber of Commerce. We want to be involved in most all of those. Great business opportunities for everyone throughout those organizations.
Marketing. Who's in charge of online marketing for Stephen Derryberry and Associates?
If you look, you could probably tell it's been me for a number of months. But we use a local developer that helps us recently that's come on board, and then we have a new social media marketing person at our office that's going to start assisting with that.
Are you afraid to become too busy or too big, too busy?
No, I mean because I want to. If that does happen, Chris, like we spoke about earlier, I want the opportunity to grow. You got to tour my office. I have a couple empty desks that I want to clear. I want to fill up, and the only way I'm going to be able to fill them up is by growing. So I don't ever want to be too busy. My wife and kids might say that a little differently some nights, but that's okay.
Well, I realize you get a little time off because when we were trying to get together to talk, you're managing a baseball team?
Well, that's true. That's true. My middle daughter, I did coach her coach pitch team this last year. It's the third year I've done it for her. So I would take off Thursdays at 2:30, run out to Quartzville Little League and 14 kids every Thursday, throw balls and pitches to them and teach them the fundamentals of baseball. So that stuff's so important. You talk about community. Community doesn't happen without the families.
Right.
So, I never want to lose sight of that for my daughters and my wife. So that comes first and foremost. The office obviously allows us to do what we can, but that's the most important part of what we have here in this community is the family.
And you got like a 12-minute commute.
Right now, it's like literally 4 minutes. I mean, since we moved our office, it's incredible. My friends always ask me, why did you go back to the Antelope Valley? I don't have to pay to park. I don't have to hop on the toll road. I don't have to get on a freeway. It's wonderful.
That would be a great slogan. Antelope Valley, parking is free.
Almost always. That's correct.
Almost always free. But just be careful where you park because you could make it up with a citation or something.
The street sweeping tickets do get a little steep sometimes.
Fair's coming up. The AV Fair's coming up.
The best 9 days or so every year. It's wonderful.
Do you get involved in the livestock auction?
Through the Animal House, yes.
Okay. Do you wear a cowboy hat?
I have one. Chris, it's not my favorite hat to wear. Last year I went in a suit and to the livestock auction and I got kicked out. Not literally, but they told me to leave.
Stephen Derryberry, thanks for being on the show. We'll see you at the fair.
You got it. Thank you, Chris.